Well, I'm Nikki Burke, and I'm here to introduce my husband, Dr. Burt Burke. Burt is a city kid from Bayonne, New Jersey, just outside of New York City. He was born of first-generation Irish immigrant parents who only completed the 8th grade. They worked very hard and very smart and ended up owning 5 restaurants and bars. Burt worked in every capacity in the family businesses: busboy, porter, dishwasher, bartender, waiter, cook, you name it.
And a drinker there, too.
That's right. And he also worked his way through for his college and board in the kitchen. And it's amazing, shocker, how he's forgotten all those skills at home. Can't do any of them. But he was rewarded for all his hard work by becoming a very successful psychotherapist and therapist and an inventor. Now, Burt is very dyslexic, and he was left back twice in grammar school. He overcame this embarrassment by always being the class clown. That's another shocker. Why is being dyslexic good for being an inventor and or a therapist? People with dyslexia experience and process visual stimuli at an alarming rate. Therefore, they often become confused as they communicate with others as to time, date, places, etc. Effectively, often what happens is the confusion leads to special insights that are eureka in nature. Dyslexia has helped Burt become an effective therapist and inventor as he processes all information to a conclusion. Burt explained to me once that all items just come quickly to his mind, where I will just like get one thing. I have to do one thing at a time, where he has myriads of things going on. Burt has counseled individuals, corporations, sports personalities, plus being a forensic psychologist and expert witness. Burt's creativity has resulted in him holding 13 U.S. and foreign patents, plus he has 3 patent pending applications. So what has he invented? He invented a way to stop leaking on bridge joints on highway bridges. Over my head, I don't understand that. In 1992, he invented the gift card, which is sold by merchants and banks, Macy's, Best Buy, MasterCard, Visa. People laughed at Burt when he talked about putting money on a card for future spending. They said, who in the world would put money on a card and not get interest? Well, today, over 1 billion people are using gift cards. He also invented the rounding of debit transactions used by Bank of America's Keep the Change, Wells Fargo's Way to Save, plus hundreds of other bank chains. Today, 50 million people are rounding up their debit transactions. His latest patent, which he just filed this August, is called Considerate Drivers Move Over. It's a patent which will help eliminate the left lane slow drivers. Now, one of Burt's many professional goals is to file a U.S. patent at age 100 and live to see it commercialized, which usually takes about 10 years. By the way, you all have a handout. It's not in order. Burt's constantly changing. I was going to print one about 3 hours ago to change it. Well, it changed even since then, so I'm glad I didn't do it. Now I'm going to hand the mic over to Burt. my best husband so far. Hey, you never know.
Well, if you ever wanted proof about who she is, because I tell everyone I know she's the nastiest person I ever met. This is it right here.
That's all you wanted.
It's fun. There's always something going on. Okay, we came up with this title, How to Have Great Performances, Love, Work, and Play. Why love, work, and play? Sigmund Freud was the father of psychoanalysis, and one of the guys who worked with him figured it out and said to Sigmund, I got the answer for this. Everything we do is regarding our love in one way or another, our work, and our play. So if you want to know who someone is real fast, just ask some questions about love, work, and play. So that's part of what we're doing here. We consider performances, and I think it's important to define what we're doing, to give a perspective. We consider performances something or anything that is meaningful for other people, for someone else. We think the process is very important because it does something for us, the person who is giving the information, who's providing the help, because that makes you feel like a better person. And that's important to keep rewarding yourself with the fact that you're a better person, and then passing it on to others. And that's contagious as well. So that's how we see it. And it's broad, but we're going to be talking about very specific things as well. So what is a great performance? That's easy. It's one that goes beyond the listener's expectation. Everyone has something expected in here. But our goal is to take you beyond what you expected. Now with something of value. And have the listener coming back, and also a great performance has listeners coming back for more and more, again and again. And also, the listener, as I said before, gets joy out of it. And when they get joy out of the performance, it becomes so ingrained, so, my Lord, you just have a couple of those experiences, and then you think back on those good things. And when things aren't going so good, you go back into your memory bank and you think about those good things. And then you can handle anything. It has such a wide use. So let's get to specifically love, work, play. Real quick examples, which we'll take apart in real details later. You got it right here.
She broke it.
You broke.
Who's dyslexic?
Oh, wait a minute. I gotta go back. Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll be good.
Okay. Well, I'll give you for play, I'll give you an example of a golfer I used to play a lot of golf with. And he was anywhere from a scratch to a 1 or 2 handicap. And we would go there, and not him, but other guys were playing in our foursome that day. We would all hit balls, we would all putt, and we would just tell stories and tease the hell out of each other. And he would come along just seconds before the tee-off time. He'd get there, make one practice swing, crack it down the center, and just perform like you couldn't believe. And I said, pardon my language, how the hell can someone do that? How can you just go out there and not practice, not warm up? We've been told over and over and over again. Well, that's one of the steps of the 6 steps we're going to talk about. Practice, visualization. What did he do? He said, Bert, you're right. I'm not here early and hit balls. But what I did was I practiced at home. Ah, John, now I understand what you're doing. You have a net and you're hitting balls in your garage. He said, no, I'm helping my wife. I'm cleaning the garage. I'm doing some work with my plants. I said, what has that got to do with golf? He said, well, here's what happens. It starts at night. I think about the next day. I think about playing. And I start to slow things down. And when I slow things down, my arousal level gets under control, and then I have amazing performances. And he goes further with this and gives me more details. And I said, so what does that mean? It means when I get there and I'm hitting that first tee shot, I've already played 9 holes. I played all morning long. When I drive here, I drive slower. Everyone here probably drove, because you're late. I just drove slower. Power, incredible power. Athletes have the ability, the guts to do things that are just remarkable. George Brett, who almost batted 400 a number of years ago, Hall of Fame baseball player. He said in an interview, George, how do you do this, George? He said, it's simple. I make the ball larger. I make the ball come in slower. No one could understand that. He took a baseball, and every time he saw it coming, it was bigger than what anyone else would see. And it was like that. Well, he slowed down his arousal. He was always, before the actual event, he was always inside himself figuring it out. When you watched the Olympics recently, you saw people doing twisting and turning and doing things and going inside themselves and thinking about it and feeling it. Okay, so John would do that, my golfing buddy, and I started to emulate him, and it helped me tremendously. Now, I was a psychologist at that time, and that got me turned on to thinking about performance and how to be a sports psychologist in addition to a clinician. And I started studying it, reading it, remembering my days when I played different sports, asking lots of guys about it, and it came out the same all the time. People control things that you think you cannot control. You don't have the audacity to think that you have the rights to do these things, but you can, we all can.
And I love, Bert, when you were telling me about John. He would start as he was driving or doing anything in the garden or anything that he was doing. He was hitting balls in his head. He was putting in his head, and he was hitting that ball straight. He was visualizing that. He was visualizing the putt. And we can visualize anything, and that can really stay in our mind and make it happen.